Hey, what's up, Determined Destiny family? This is Coach Kevin coming at you with another video. Hey, wanted to continue this conversation around creating emotionally healthy young men. I thought I was done with this. We've done 3 videos on this already, and I thought I was done with it, but I just could not shake the thought of needing to have this conversation around anxiety. And I try to, like not dig into it because it's not me. I don't deal with anxiety, so I didn't really think that it was a topic that needed to be addressed. But what I realized after having several conversations with people that determined destiny is not just about me and what I think needs to be put out there or what I've experienced, but it's in the young men that I'm working with and the other young men that I desire to help, which is all over the world, and what they may be dealing with. And so, in having conversations, what I came to realize is that just because I'm not dealing with this doesn't mean that it's not a topic that we need to address within the Determined Destiny family. So I began to study about it and realized that in some ways I've addressed anxiety. I've addressed the need to overcome this monster within my book. My book, 10 Things Your Son Needs to Know to Be Successful. It's on Amazon. If you don't have it, I want to encourage you to go to Amazon and pick this up because there's some rich material in this book. 10 Things Your Son Needs to Know to Be Successful by Dr. Kevin Phillips. And what I realized is that in chapter 7 here, it talks about he needs to know what you like about him and his dad. And so, this particular chapter was specifically written targeting single moms and the things that they deal with their young man. And in this particular chapter, I go into talking about how our young men need to understand what it is that their mom likes about them. And whether you're the mom, whether you're the coach, whether you're the mentor, you're the teacher of a young man, and you've come across Determined Destiny and you're using our material to help develop the young men in your life, it's applicable to you. So I want to encourage you, visit the website, determineddestiny.org, where you can become a member and get access to all of our content and material. I want to let you know that I'm currently in the process of working on a daily journal, an agenda, for lack of a better understanding of that, to where it's a determined destiny daily focus agenda. And basically, what that is going to be like is going to be where you can write down the things that you're focused on or your young man's focused on for that particular day. And a lot of us have gotten to the point to where we want to manage our time the right way, so we write those things down to design how we spend our time for the day. And so at Determined Destiny, I realized that that was important for us to have as part of our resources. So hopefully in the next week or so, we'll have that complete and have that as part of the resources that are available to our members. But on this topic about anxiety, what I realized that a big piece of that is about balance. It's about understanding who we are as a young man growing up. We have to understand who we are. And that's where the chapter in the book comes in to help with that, because it encourages the mother or the guardian or the teacher or the mentor to tell that young man the good things that you like about him. That's important because that's where we start to develop our self-image and our self-awareness, our self-esteem of who we are. And we want to try to relate that back to dad in any opportunity that presents itself. You want to try to relate that back to his father or his uncle or his granddad, somebody that he looks up to, because that's where he's going to establish his identity in those men that he has looked up to or that he aspires to be like. And so if he can see himself in them and the good things that are in them, and he sees that in himself, that's going to increase his self-esteem. So we want to make sure that we are telling our young men the good things about themselves, because the number one tool and ammunition that you use to fight anxiety is knowing who you are and establishing some balance within your life of who you are. And we want our young men to get that they know who they are. And the only way that they're going to know that is by you telling them who they are. And for every negative seed that's planted, you have to plant 7 positive seeds. So I understand that, frustrated moms, and I talk about this in the book, frustrated moms have a situation where they have their young man and he's doing some things that is similar to their father who is no longer around. And so we have a tendency to say that to him. You just like your daddy. You can't do this, this, and this, and this, whatever the case may be. That negative message gets planted in his mind, and then it makes him develop a negative self-image. And that's where that monster comes from. That monster of anxiety comes from. Because then he becomes fearful. He gets afraid to try this or to try that or to take on a leadership role in life because too many negative images have been planted in his head. And that's where the anxiety comes from. So as I begin to study this anxiety, what I realized is anxiety is rooted in negative self-images. That's where people are unsure about themselves. They're unsure about what's going to happen. They lack confidence. And that creates the anxiety in their lives because if I do this, am I going to be wrong? Is somebody going to yell at me? Am I going to get in trouble? Is this going to be a mistake? And so it causes you to be paralyzed. It causes our young men to be paralyzed and they don't want to do anything. And that's a problem. Here at Determined Destiny, we want our young men to be confident. We want our young men to realize that it's okay to fail. The first chapter in this book is that we teach our young men that failure is temporary. And that is directly in opposition to anxiety. Failure is okay. Anxiety says that if you fail, then the whole world's going to look down upon you. And that's what we want to fight against. We want to fight against by building up his self-esteem, by letting him know all the good things that are inside of him that we like about him. The confidence, we have to build up that confidence. We have to take time to have conversations that allows that young man to hear us saying the positive things about him more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times. Because this monster of anxiety, it will eat us up by causing us to be paralyzed with fear. And it will cause us to be overtaken with worry and worried about this, worried about that. And we don't want that. We want our young men to be confident in taking steps in life. This monster of anxiety will cause our young men to be unable to live their best life. And that's what Determined Destiny is all about. Teaching our young men how to live their best life on pace, on target, with what they feel inside of them that's their destiny. So we got to work on this, y'all. This thing with this anxiety, it is one of those things that if we don't address it, it grows. I'm calling it a monster because, it starts out as small, young. I'm talking like 7, 8 years old, y'all, where this monster of anxiety of being scared to take chances and scared to do this or scared to do that, it'll paralyze our young men. And it doesn't go away if we don't address that monster. We got to teach our young men that just because you have that nervousness, that's okay. And the way that you grow and you excel in life is not ignoring the nervousness. We take on the nervousness and that little bit of fear, and we look that fear in the eye and say, I can do this. I'll be okay. Even if I'm not successful at this, I'll be okay. And then I can try it again later. And that's the thing that we got to teach our young men, that it's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to make a mistake. There's nothing wrong with that. And our young men have to know and understand that we're still going to love them. We're still going to support them. We're still going to pour into their lives 100 with the mistakes, with the failures, with the fear. We're going to pull you through that so that you can overcome that. I am totally committed to helping our young men overcome any obstacles in their lives. And so one of the exercises that I want to give you to help our young men overcome the obstacles in their lives and this big monster of anxiety. Remember, this series is about creating emotionally healthy young men, and this monster of anxiety that we're going to overcome. The strategy that I want you to use for this particular issue is write down 10 to 15 things that you like about your son or your mentee or the young man that's in your life, your nephew, your grandson, whoever it may be. Write down 10 to 15 things that you like about him. And then sit down with them and tell them, you know what? I want to tell you some things about you that really stick out, that I really like about you. And just start reading those things off. I like the way you're responsible. I like the way you can take care of things without me having to tell you to do it all the time. I like the way you smile and you use good manners. I like the way you come in and you take care of your homework without me having to get on you about it. I like the way you take care of your chores. I like the way you dress in the mornings when you get up. It shows that you care about how you look. Take the time to tell him those things, y'all. Because what it'll do is encourage him to do more of that. And then he's building his self-esteem. Okay? And what that will do is help him overcome the challenges of life. And once you do that and you say that to him, give that to him. You know, I talked on a couple of other videos about creating that vision board. And in that vision board, as you look at those goals and those things that are on that vision board, they become a part of your subconscious. And that's what we need our young men to do. He sees that list of 10 or 15 things that you've written down, and he's reading that, and he sees that daily, and he's heard you say that. It's going to get into his subconscious, and his confidence is going to be accelerated and elevated. And it's going to cause him to understand that when I do get worried about something, I do get nervous about something, and that anxiety starts to tell me to stay put. No, don't raise your hand in class. No, don't step up and practice. No, don't volunteer to play that beat that teacher's asking you to play. No, don't volunteer to get up and do anything. He's going to hear your voice of the things that you said that you like about him. And he's going to have the confidence to overcome that. And that's what we want our young men to be able to do. Have the self-esteem to overcome their fears, their anxiety, their nervousness, and proceed on towards their destiny. I'm Coach Kevin, y'all, and I'm committed to the success of our young men. I hope that you are too. I want to encourage you. Pick up the book, 10 Things Your Son Needs to Know to Be Successful. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you like what you're getting, encourage somebody else. Hit the subscribe button and then share it and encourage somebody else to come on board with us, because we're committed to helping our young men reach their destiny. DeterminedDestiny.org is the website, and we are here for you. Thank you. Talk to you soon.